Hi everybody, my name is Sherry. Welcome to my stamp studio. I have a sweet little Christmas project for you today. It's perfect for, like if you want to take one of your favorite children in your life out, whether or not they're young or old, for a special Christmas day. You could put a little invitation and maybe a gift card in it if you have somebody away at college or working where you won't get to see them over Christmas or maybe till Christmas. It would be a fun little thing to send before. It's also great if you just want to, like hairdressers or anybody that you would tip a Christmas gift to over the holidays, you could add it into there. So it is with the Gingerbread Man. But before I do that, just show you a couple of the other things that I have. This would have been the last thing that I posted. So I made a little piece of home decor with the wreath from the Traditions of Christmas. And then for just a few more days, I have registration that you can still register. The class is done. It's ready. So as soon as you pay and I am back to my computer, I would send you the class. It is for the Traditions of Christmas class. I did 5 cards. So it's the video tutorials for each of these 5 projects. This one here is a fun 3D. So that is up. And then every month when you spend $50 with me in merchandise, you get a tutorial at the end of the month that I have it's with about 14 other demonstrators from all around the world. So you get to see different stamping styles from how everybody stamps a little bit differently according to where they live. So this is my submission for October. So if you purchase in October, the theme was, maybe it was mini catalog. You'd think I'd be able to tell when I looked at it, but I just wanted you to see it because it is today set in a completely different color scheme and a little bit different. I used a lot of the dies on this one, and I'm using several of the dies today, but this one uses a lot of the pieces. And then this was the first thing that I did with this set. So this is on my channel. It's a little tutorial. And you can see on it too, you can slide some cash or a gift card or an invitation. These would also be fun if you host cookie baking day or if you do a cookie baking swap day with your friends. Maybe you could get them to do a card as well because this set would be perfect for that. There's another baking set right now as well. So I am using the Gingerbread Man, and I'm using some of the stamps and some of the dies, so it's a nice little mix of both. And then for the card, oops, just knocked all that stuff over. I am using these from the Christmas Greetings Mix and Match Specialty Cards and Envelopes. That's a name, isn't it? Maybe on this one I'll switch colors. The other one I use, they come in 2 colors. So you can see you get the envelopes. The other one I used crumb cake. Let's try it on this. I'll lay it on there, and if we don't like it, then I'll switch back to the crumb cake. But I did, when I started this card, I mean, obviously I knew the gingerbread would be brown. So that's why I went with crumb cake, but I ended up just using red and green and white. So this may work. We'll try it, and if it doesn't, then we'll swap back over. So they come pre-scored. They're all ready to go. If you would like to get twice as many cards and don't care if your envelopes match, then you could cut the card fronts off and mount this to another card. But they're not standard card size. They're a little bit different, I think. They feel a little bit differently here. Let's see. Yeah, they're taller and a bit thinner than the standard card. So let's get going. I already did the die cut because I'm running a little bit behind this week and I wanted to be able to film quickly. So while the video tutorial of the framed piece was uploading, I was creating this. So I wanted you to see how the dies come though. So this is the gingerbread die. So it'd be great for making a garland. In fact, you could still cut it apart and make garlands, but it comes like this in it. So you can either get 2 gingerbread men or you can make the little note card, and that's what we're doing on this. So this is a half a piece of crumb cake, and I'm going to use this piece here. And I'm going to get my white. I've covered everything up as I moved it out of the way. So I have my Whisper White to stand in for some frosting. And there are frosting bits, so if you want to add frosting to your thing with stamps, you can do it that way, or I'm going to use the dies on this, but I'm going to just stamp the sugar, spice, and everything nice. I thought about putting one of the other Christmas greetings on the front, but then I thought, no, I'm just going to stick with the set for this one. I do have a pretty card that's coming up that uses the new vellum, and it has some Christmas words on it. It's pretty pretty. I haven't filmed it yet. It's just sitting there in the line, and it is not going to make it to be filmed. this week, so it will be on next week. I emboss this in white, so pour this on and then let me heat set this and I'll be right back. Okay, so that has been embossed and I just trimmed it out with my scissors. So here are, I ran that through, and when I did, it was left with my gingerbread man, but I wanted to use the snap, which is fun. Except at our house, my niece, when she was tiny, we make ginger snaps we don't make gingerbread men, but we do make ginger snaps every Christmas. It's one of those cookies, you know, that as you get older, you're kind of like, I could do without these because they're a lot of work. But the kids love them. But my niece called them ginger snacks. So we kind of still call them that around here. But I wanted to use the snap. So I wanted part of him to be snapped off. So there's this little piece here, and you can put it wherever you want to snap something off. And so you don't need this piece. So that I did. And then on my other one, I'm going to make a couple of changes on this. The other one I didn't stamp. And I feel like he felt a little bit, I just wanted to use the dies and I didn't want to put the outline on there. But I've decided I'm going to put the outline on there because I feel like he kind of needed it. And he was all to the card with pieces stuck on him. So it made it not possible for me to do it. But the trick is I'm going to try to get, because we no longer have markers. Well, I think we do. I think they're probably still available, but I'm just going to try doing it like this because I don't want to get the frosting. That was the other reason that I didn't use it. How about let's just do this. Let's ink it and the pecan pie. So it'll give it an outline, and then let me grab a wet wipe. This will be a little bit easier than masking it off. And then I'm just going to take it off of these. If a little bit goes through, that's fine. I can try to cover it up, but these look like they're a little bit of a different shape. Well, they are, I can tell, than the ones that get die cut. So I'm going to take these off. And when you look at the case, it kind of looks like the face and the buttons are part of it, but they're not. It's just the way that they're lined up on the case. Now you could do this first, and then you could die cut it, but it's just as easy when it's clear. Let's put this on here. And I don't even care if it all gets on there. I just felt like it needed some definition. These big stamps, you want to make sure that you got everywhere. The nice thing is they won't rock. So you can push as hard as you want, but they're not going to rock. And this guy does need the large stamp or a stamping platform. So we got most of it. There's a little bit of places where it stayed. So on the other one, I just cut his face out and then I glued it on. But you know, faces can be weird. So my face is a little bit weird because I didn't get it exactly where I wanted. So this time, instead, I am going to put the stamp on and then I can just glue over the top of it because those are placed where I want them to be. Let's go ahead and do all the stamping while I have this here. So I guess we're going to commit to the green because I need to stamp my envelope in the inside of the card. So for this one, I'm going to stamp just half of him. And this time I do want frosting. And I'm just going to pop him here. And then let's get his little face again. Just make a fun little envelope. This face reminds me of the Gingerbread Man story. Can't catch me. Because he looks a little shocked. So let's do the same thing on the inside of our card. If I'd done these first, then the bottom of my stamp wouldn't be so dirty. You want enough that you can see kind of the arms, but not so much that it goes into a gap. My other one, I did a little too high. And then it doesn't look great because you lost part of him. And then his face. And there's multiple faces. You don't have to do all the same faces on these. You could give them all a little bit of a different face, which I think that's what I did on the card for my tutorial. So these are pre-scored, but it never hurts to have a little bit of the bone folder on it to keep it flat. And then this will be the card that's on top. And it does look a hot mess right now, but we'll fix it when we put his glued bits on. So, and here I'm just going to do the O stamp. I think I did do his face on the inside, I'm pretty sure. Because he looks like he doesn't have a face. So the O snap goes with the fact that his leg is snapped off, because you start with the legs, right? So we have that. And then I wanted him to have a little bit of glimmer. We don't have very many glimmer papers right now. So this is my shimmer solution. I have lots of videos. If you haven't seen me before, use my shimmer solution. It's glycerin and a full wink of Stella. Pop some of that on there. It does make it very hard to adhere stuff to until it dries. But he'll make him nice and shiny because it's Christmas, right? It can look a little frosted or sugar dusted. It can smear the ink. The pecan pie is one of those ink colors that doesn't smear terribly much. There's ones like some of our greens. The shaded spruce will smear. The red will smear. And then see how it did his little leg? I'm going to leave that like that. So when you open it, you can see that part. And I put a lot on there, so it's really going to have a hard time sticking. So let's go ahead and do another step of something else before we do that. So I have a couple of things that are left from last Christmas. I think this is from last Christmas. It is the red and white twine. I'm just going to tie it around here. I wanted some ribbon. And twine, of course, makes you feel like you got a cake from the bakery, right? And they wrapped that box up. We still have a few bakeries in town that do that. The Cake Bake does not, which is probably our most famous bakery, although you can go to it at Disney World now too. So it's in Indianapolis and Disney World. But theirs are just packaged beautifully. Of course, the cakes weigh about 50 pounds. So I'm going to just tie this on here and then tie a little bow, just like this is the bakery box. Trim it off. And then I'll show you the dies. I don't know if I can get them to glue on here. That doesn't matter. It's going to go on the card. So I have put them all here. So you can see we have the frosting, which one piece of it is too big for any hand. So I just took them and I saw that there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little scoopies. So I cut it in half, which would be 2.5. And then on the other one, I just used a piece of scrap. So this can be here. And I am going to go outside the lines of the gingerbread man. I think he already looks better than my other one, because the other one was just kind of big and I just felt like it needed some definition. The glue is the best choice if your stuff has not dried. The seal and the dimensionals just don't stick. Put that there. Oh, it covers up those little pieces perfectly. And then we'll do this one. So this is all from the velvet paper. So our new velvet paper, which is part of the holiday catalog, comes in red, green, and red and white. So very holiday colors. And then you can see over here. So here was the scallop for the frosting. There's the white velvet. And then here's his little face. Here's a secret when you're doing stuff like this. It is better to put the glue on here, which I did, and then it was his face is just too far away on my other one. I'm gonna grab these. Sometimes I put a little bit of glue on the end of my shepherd's hook from my Take My Pick. Just a tad, then when you go to pick them up, it sticks. Those are on there upside down, so when I put them on here, it's actually sticking the glue to the right side up. Oh, so much better. So use the face as a mask and then just cover it up, because when you try to guess where to get a face, it doesn't always hit where you want it to hit. And then I have a little bow. I hope it looks good on the green, because this looks a lot better than my other one. So the bow comes, here's his little face, and there are maybe 3, 4, 5 little face different expressions of dies and stamps. And then the bow is in one piece like this. So it popped out the tail, and then here's the actual bow part. And then there is this little square that makes the knot. When you put it on, you do want to make sure that it is square on there so it looks like it's a knot. Perfect. I'll lay something on here. While that dries, well, that's not going to work there. And then here's his hat, which cuts out super cute. I started out and the hat was going to be the white, but then, because I thought a white hat would be pretty, but look at the detail it has. But then I realized the frosting had to be white. You can always do something different, right? Because we're crafters. We can do whatever we want, but stick his hat on there. That's stuck well enough. And then because there was this gold in the paper, there's a candy cane, there's a lollipop, and then there's also a hot cocoa cup. So I decided that would be perfect in gold to match this. But the trick is there's not very much space on this card because he's kind of big, this little gingerbread guy. So I'm just going to put glue on the handle and then just put that there. And then let's go ahead and put this on the back. And this is still plus because I've got this glycerin going on. I want to make sure it sticks. Pop him over, and then before I press him down, I want to make sure that the cup is on. Slide that under a little bit. I highly recommend anytime you adhere anything to a card, before you press down, you make sure it's where you want, because you can always lay it down and then lift it back up. So there he is. Super cute. And then one more. Let me get this lid on here before I forget, because sometimes when it's the last card of the day, there's nothing worse than coming back the next day, or it's Friday, so coming back on Monday, and I do have shaded spruce all over my hands. But coming back at the end of the next week, and then you're like, oh, my stuff's all dried up. I'm going to use these. Sold like hotcakes last year, and they were sold out often before Christmas when people needed them, but you can get them this year, the red and white adhesive back peppermints, and they're perfect for this card. So there is a peppermint die, but this card, if you want to see this background, you can't put a whole lot of stuff on it, right? So let's do 1, 2, 3. Oops, it didn't come up. 4. And 1, 2, 3. Let's do one more up here. I like it on the green. You could use both colors. They'll both work with this. So here is our card. Remember the inside. Oops, nope, I'm not done. I gotta put his little sign on. I'm gonna use dimensionals, but there's a high probability that they're not gonna stick. Let's try sticking one on here. Oh no, it's stuck. There we go. Now it looks complete. So we have the inside, and then you also have the fun little message on there. So here it is on the green. Get all my stuff out of the way. And then here it is on, see, his face isn't in, they're too spread apart, which happens, right? If you frost cookies, you know, sometimes, especially if you frost cookies with children, sometimes they don't look like they have the face that you would like if you were in more control of the faces. So I added the little cheeks to try to help the fact that his face was too big. It might have also been just because this outline, I think, draws his face a little smaller. The dies are a tiny bit Like if you had a gingerbread cookie this big, you'd put a little bit more frosting. And I also thought about using these guys because sometimes you frost Christmas cookies, you use candies, right? So super fun. You could have a lot of fun playing with this set. Let me know in the comments if you like the crumb cake or the garden green better. And head to my website and you can see everything I used to make that there. Have a great weekend. Bye.